Okay, hello. I'm hyperionORBIT, and this is Mycorrhizal Rumbles. I've chosen to call it. This, yeah, I've been having a lot of problems with this stream, so I think this is going to be the first official, let's just call it, what, episode, stream, whatever. And I want to start off with something I think a lot of people who produce electronic music knows that feeling of just kind of getting to a point where you just kind of you realize you're repeating yourself like so fundamentally that you have essentially made the same track over and over and over again, like since the last time you switched your style up like radically. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. So what recently happened to me was that this release came out from a label in the Netherlands, from Delft. Oh wait, from Delft, right? All right, okay, let's leave it. I'll stop doing that. But yeah, this record came out, and it's a very interesting record, and it's the first time I saw this name, Sun Genam, Sungenam is like, I like to say Sungenam. I don't know German pronunciation or something, but this Karmic Whip Hypnomix, I think we should listen to a little bit of it, and that'll kind of, I'll talk a bit more about it. Alright, I'll just talk above it. But this is one of the stranger dance tracks I've listened to in a while. And normally this would be way too slow for me in general. Like, I consider this slow. I know it's really fast in a lot of people's minds, but yeah, I would consider this a quite slow track. Okay, so right off the bat, the kick pattern is, to me, funky as hell and very not what's happening in the mainstream right now in dance music. Yeah, and there you go. So, like, did you notice what happened there? Did you notice that? Like, maybe I was talking above it. I certainly was. But the kick is so tight, very transient based, very controlled. Right around here, it's already getting a little bit of decay, I think. And here that fat ass just spills out of them pants. It just like kind of falls out all over the low end of this track. Alright, so that, you know, when I listened to this, I'd been working on a film set for like maybe 12 hours that day, and then I had to do a 1 hour train ride to get back home. And on that train ride, I for some reason clicked on a series of Instagram posts and saw that this had been released like maybe a month before or something, or like, no, you know, I don't remember really how I found it. I just found it. I knew about the label. I knew about the people. I've never heard about Sanginam before, but like this track completely blew my mind. Let me see if I can find that spot in it later on. Right here. So there's the yeah. So here we have the big fat ass kick. The whole track is just fucking going every time. And yeah, let's not even begin with all the choir things that are just falling and rising at the same time. Fucking amazing. Also, how few shits does he give? He makes like that's the break. You still, I mean, fucking amazing, dude. So, not to play the whole track and just like kind of steal content is not my intention with this at all. You'll see in a second. But wow, like motherfucker, that track got me so deep, and it's so much of the kick. And like I talked to the guy, I went online immediately and sent him like a really gushy, disgusting message that sometimes I do. I feel a little bit bad about doing that, but like this was so good, I just had to tell him like, fuck man, you're a fucking genius. And he was very nice about it. Oh, thank you. Right, you're supposed to. But dude, if you ever see this, man, like that track meant a lot to me. That track really fucking changed a lot, and I like everybody go check that label out, go check that producer out. He's a Sanginam. Absolute genius. Psychedelic to the brim. Like it's quite amazing. Yeah. So, right. Yeah. So, what I want to say with all of that, what the whole fucking point was, is that I then wanted to make a track that sounded like that, or like had some kind of playfulness with the kick, and where the kick could get a different live than the 4 to the floor that I always give my kicks, because that's the easy thing for me to do when I work in these kind of genres, right? And so what I did was I was listening to that kick and going, oh, what does that remind me of? Oh shit, it kind of reminds me of a primitive 808 or a powerful 606, and I was like, oh shit. It reminded me of the I guess it's called a CR72. Isn't it called a CR72? Let's just check that. Yeah, no, CR78. Okay, yeah. The Roland CR78. So this one looked like that. It's a very old drum machine. It was actually, I guess, a module you would get when you got yourself a organ, and so you could go out and play the drums and the bass and the organ, and the organ was, like you could play a whole orchestra and an organ or whatever. Well, so I thought it sounded like that. So I was like, hang on, I just switched to a different DAW, digital audio workstation, that can handle 32-bit plugins. And I remember when I started making music, or when I switched to Ableton back in the day, I used this plugin a lot. This is called Tromin C, or Tromine, I don't know. Marvin VST, they have a handful of these plugins that are actually quite excellent emulations of old Roland drum machine gear. which can be kind of tricky to find something where it's not just. This might be a rompler, I'm not sure actually. Feels to me like it's not a rompler. It might be a rompler, but often you get like romplers or sample packs, and both are kind of like, yeah, like that, right? So this was just to make my kick. Okay. So right off the bat, it doesn't sound like the other track. First of all, I can see I might have, like, how much speed was I taking that day? Yeah, this is more like the tempo, right? Okay, so what I came up with was like what I really liked about that other track, apart from the kick being so alive in its decay and its rumbliness and its sound, and like how powerful it is as a tight little short kick that then just like kind of fucking explodes and become like a huge thing, like that elasticity in the kick, I was just like, jeez, that's so good, right? And then the gatuk 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 tukutuk tukutuk, and it's not tukutuk tukutuk, it's like gatuk 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 gatuk, right? And it might be tukutuk because the tuk might be like tukutuk 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 tukutuk, like it's very muted, like little first hit there, if it's even there, or that might even be a delay, I'm not sure. But that thing, so like that. And you can see I've made a variation on it. But I don't know, maybe if I turn off like I have like a 16th idiot sub bass here. Sorry, there. So you see a lot of the bounciness in this comes from the classic. This sounds like 909 toms doing the doom 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 doom, and then gated. And I can see, what did I put on here? Oh yeah, okay. This is just a really nice free saturation plugin that a fellow from Copenhagen tipped. Shout out to Asger for showing me this one. This is like really nice. And there's some EQ and a peak limiter. And then I have a tool. And here you see, this is actually, I don't know why the tool is in the effects layer. Maybe there was some idea with this, because this was a while back. I was sketching out this shit. Yeah, I think it's actually just this thing. This is just a tool. It's the same as, well, not the same, but it's very similar to the utility in Ableton Live, but it's called a tool in Bitwig. And so you can see the volume knob here is like kind of living. And that's because there is a modifier, and this modifier is called an audio sidechain. So this is how Bitwig gets around the sidechaining, of stuff. Wherein I really like that you can do this with the utility and the tool. And because in Ableton I would always go for the compressor, right? The compressor plugin, and then up in the left hand corner there is a audio only sidechain like tab. You click it and it folds out, and then you have all the sidechaining routes here. This is quite amazing because you just use these, like you can, you know, you could also have a note receiver. Oh, note sidechain, here you go. There you go. This is a MIDI sidechain. So you need to input a, this would only be, yeah, I could do that, and that would be the, so that would just be the MIDI ons and maybe MIDI offs. I doubt it. Actually, it has a, yeah. It would just be the MIDI information instead of the audio information. Here it's the audio information, like an envelope follower kind of a deal. Yeah, just a one of the things that I really like. So you don't get the compression character for your ducking. You're only ducking. So yeah, I like that. And I don't mind it's a little bit snappy and has a little bit of click and stuff, because when you layer it in with everything else, that click is so far down in the mix that nobody gives a shit. And so I wanted it to have a little bit of that electro feel. I don't know if I feel like the original track that inspired this had that electro feel, but I just found like, yeah, let's just give it that kind of like, I mean, this is actually quite a deep bass. I don't know, we could look at some, yeah, I have some. Yeah, so you see, most of the stuff that's going on is down in the subby area, like down where speakers are going like, oh, buddy, what are you doing to me? This is like really deep. And it can actually be difficult for some speaker stacks to kind of play this kind of stuff. But because the kick and the rumble, or the delay of the kick, because this is a delayed kick, basically. It's not the tom, it's a kick. Delayed and processed a little bit. When you mix that in there, you see the kick stacks on top of it. It's kind of tuned in the same tuning, right? And I'm sure I have some kind of like, what do I have? I have it too. Yeah, actually here I have the LFO tool doing that kind of thing for a really super snappy side chain. So you can see it's node retriggering, and it gets I have a node receiver on it here that means that you can see, if you look here, there's like that yellow square is a MIDI information square that just tells you when the MIDI is going off, right? And this like 16th fast blinking MIDI is just like, it's this shit that's going on, right? Oh wait, this stuff, right? 16th notes. So you see them blinking off there, but then in the chain it stops here with the note receiver, and now we have a different MIDI information blinking up, and that's this shit, right? It's the kick drum. So that's how you can have a MIDI chain that's reacting to MIDI normally, and then later in the chain it just stops reacting to the MIDI that's actually going into the chain. Now you put another, like, you put a MIDI node in here and you routed MIDI from a different track, right? So and that's a really nifty way to make some. If you pair that with the LFO tool from Expa, the guys who make Serum and stuff, that's a super powerful. And there are other tools. I've been using LFO tool for so long that I prefer that one. I kind of know what to do to make sure it's not too clicky and stuff. All right, but wow, we started talking. We went in deep really fast, huh? Nerdy. I assume that only nerds would be listening to this, but I think maybe it's time for us to listen to the whole thing here that I've set up. Okay, so what's going on here is just like we added this element, and this is of course Reactor 6 Play with the awesome boom cloud that if you watch any of my streams here, you're gonna see this panel a lot because I am absolutely in love with this thing. It's quite recent. I've only been using it for some months, but it is completely infiltrated all of my productions because it makes such nice controlled chaos. It's fantastic. We have some other elements here. Let's see. We have a little cheeky offbeat hat. Oh, that does a little, what is that, triad thing by the end? So that's pretty good. Again, I chose to go with the CR78. I guess these are not the symbols. These are the like. It has some nice percussion, but like kind of weird percussion. And then what do we have here? Yes. 808 hat. Yeah. Some different hats native to Bitwig. This is an 808 emulation. It's very nice. It has a nice variation on the sound between hits and stuff. You can dial in how random it is, how dirty it is, how non-random it is and stuff. Okay. So we have like, for me, I've been working a lot with my hi-hats lately to get out of just like using only this one. I mean, electronic music have an umba problem. Me included, because this is a powerful way to use a hi-hat. Very powerful, but it is a little bit umpa. It's a bit polka. And there's nothing wrong with polka. Don't send up your Germans up here to kick my ass, because there's nothing wrong with polka. There's nothing wrong with all the genres that polka spanned, but yeah, this is also a stream about like how to make stuff that doesn't fit into the normal, you know, zeitgeist of what electronic music is. And should we just take a fucking second to talk about what electronic music has become in Europe right now? Apart from the obvious Instagram popularity contest, which is killing me. And apart from the fact that it's the most Instagram-y of all the types that always, like, also very good people, very talented people get careers. Like, I mean, obviously Peggy Goo needed a career because she could produce that music. I actually, you know, like, her productions are actually really good and stuff, and she can DJ it, and she looks like a fucking supermodel, and yeah, has you know, a fun-loving attitude. So, like, obviously she needed a career, right? And but there are like so many DJs who look as good as Peggy Goo and is not as talented as Peggy Goo and has comparable careers to Peggy Goo's. And these are male and female DJs. I'm not knocking female DJs. I actually, you know, I don't know why I chose to talk about Peggy Goo. She's just like, no, because she's a good example of who needs to get famous and who has like and stuff. But right now, fuck man, the Instagram shit is killing me. But apart from that, there's also a lot of really good producers who only fucking produce horseshit edits. Fucking stop it with the edits, man. Come on. Like, those hits were already hits. Leave them alone. Fucking, I don't want to hear a hard groove version of a fucking Post Malone track or some shit. Like, stick it up your ass and come up with some, like, don't just throw hooks into A hookless genre. Fucking make a hook, you loser. Come on. Grow up. Sorry. Wow. Ooh, wow. But yeah, quit it with the fucking edits, guys. Come on. Fucking grow up. Yeah, so that's what's going on in popular music in Europe right now. Or like, not popular, in electronic music. A whole lot of fucking edits and a whole lot of big drops. And we're squarely back in the EDM days. We're squarely back. Techno DJs are just like what they were screaming at Skrillex 10 years ago. Like, don't be a Skrillex. You're all fucking Skrillex now. You're all Tiesto and you're all sold out. And it's all fucking over. It is fucking over, right? At least for this kind of music. Alright. Wow. Boo-hoo, right? Alright, so we have another instance of a Trombine. This is a 606, just doing some cheeky clapping and yeah, some distorted. It goes into this filter unit that has this like really nice little distortion unit up front and then goes into a filter. I like to just like kind of turn the filtering down, distort the shit out of it, lower the volume a little bit, and then mix into where I feel it's good. And then we have some reverb at the end. Yeah, Melda, fantastic plugin. Okay, so like very static elements that are just like kind of running. Oh yeah, right. And so why is this not? Oh yeah, and then we have another element here that's not. It's part of the reactor plugin here I showed you before. Because I have some MIDI here for it. And these MIDI nodes don't do anything for the internal sequence or anything, really. But let's see. I did some kind of... Yeah. So here we have some kind of... Where's this going? Let's see. Right now it's not going anywhere. Okay. And neither is this, but this one. Huh. Let me see. I'm pretty sure this one will be going into... Yeah. Alright, okay. So I have to figure it out. Well, so this is a segments modulator. That means that every time you play some MIDI notes, like these, this modulation will occur like full-on modulation and then go down and release it like that, right? And this modulator is set to the feedback on this resonance unit. So, okay, check this out. So what's happening here is like right now I have the skip knob of this unit turned up quite fairly. So that's like kind of randomly skipping steps. And also you can see there's a weird offset and the length is set to 8. So it has, oh no, it's just cycling through. So it's mainly the skipping here. Like, if I... Again, you see like the... I've tried to get that from the kick of the other track, in this one. But so when you fuck around with the skip, it becomes a bit unpredictable. And then when you randomly just have like these MIDI nodes that just kind of like crank up the feedback of the resonator, but this isn't married to, like, maybe there's not a hit right there when it cranks the resonator. And sometimes there is. So you get something really interesting. Unpredictable, right? And sometimes you don't want the unpredictability and you just kind of like Alright, so that's the rhythmic basics of the track. And then after that, I was like, okay, we need some more stuff going on. And I wasn't really sure because I was like, I felt so out of my depths with this track. This is normally not how I work. I'm not experimental enough, really. I don't challenge myself like this enough. I've decided, the council has decided, that I'm not experimental enough. So I was like, I don't fucking know what to do. It's this kind of like, I need this monster of a beat. It's kind of cool enough. It's cool, but it's not cool enough on its own. But it's driving it forward somehow. Like, I'm not sure where it's driving it. So I was like, oh yeah, I just heard about like I got an iPad and I thought I could get a modular system on the iPad or whatever. So I was like doing the VCV rack and we're like, oh, that doesn't work for iPad. And the Mi Rack thing, that support of the VCV rack is not available on the App Store in Europe because of Trump. I don't know. Trump and Margrethe Vestager probably. But so I found this. It's called Cardinal. It's VCV rack ported to a VST and it's free and it's VCV rack goodness. So all of a sudden, you know, you don't have to pay. Like, each of these units will probably cost, you know, what? Fucking 500 euros each or whatever. And you have a pretty solid representation of a lot of, like, yeah. Just, and what is it doing? It's only doing like a noisy sweep, like, right? I can see I have a tool doing some volume automation on it. I have some ducking, I have delay. Rotary. This is a nice, I found that this unit right here, it's a native Bitwig plugin that is basically, instead of having a auto pan, they've gone toward this rotary thing, which you can do time modulation and amplitude modulation, and the amplitude modulation is what causes interest. This is more like a Leslie unit, I guess, somewhat, than an auto pan. And it seems to always go the same. I'm not sure if it's clockwise or counterclockwise, but like I have to flip the polarity of it to get it to go the other way, and then you also flip the sound. Yeah, but it's interesting. It's a different approach to like panning chaos that was always done with autopan for me in Ableton. Alright, so now we have some gushy wind. Gusts. Gusty. Not gushy. Gusty. And I was like, I gotta put something with actual tones in there. And then I found this thing. And yeah. Oh, what the fuck, right? I mean, what the fuck? By the way, I've tried to tune this so many times and like figure out how to. Oh, shut the fuck up. How to like kind of handle this, control this, and stuff. And literally, you have to play. Like you can play it with them. Like look at this little thing here, right? That's connected to the mud wheel. I don't have a mud wheel. I don't think. No, I honestly don't even have a synth with a mud wheel. I don't have a key step or whatever, like those kind of things right now. If I could just buy like a single, like a CC mud wheel, like a mud wheel where it's only the mud wheel, maybe the pitch wheel, and it had like a CC output and a MIDI output that could fire up simultaneously, I would get that. I don't want the keyboard. The mud wheel is so essential for so many synths, and it's kind of great, but it's also infuriating when you don't have the MIDI stuff. But right, who gives a shit right now? I would probably not use it on this one, because the great thing is like Bitwig is so good, because I thought I'd had to do this to record, but the problem is like every time you move it, it kind of goes through all of these tones, because when you move your mouse over this stuff, it's like, yeah, like yeah, I guess it's called a Rex tree, like the thing where you do like that and it goes like used a lot in, I guess, like Exotica and old like movie scores from the 60s and 50s, and in some kind of like neo-romantic classic music and that kind of stuff. Maybe not neo-romantic, but like, I guess romantic music maybe? Unsure. Yeah, they would have percussionists doing this shit in classical music. And when you move your mouse over it, you can see here, so for me, like composing with this, I haven't started doing it yet actually, but I've been sitting around like just spending hours doing this. Trying to make something that sounded cool. And there we go. I think that might have been the track right there, right? Like something like that. So, and I was watching a completely unrelated YouTube video about like how some dude has like kind of been inspired by the way like the old jungle, basically the old British jungle producers, how and drum and bass producers, how they would handle. How they would sample their synths for pads, because if they had the pads inside the samplers, they had more powerful editing tools and like super like interesting results, like multi-sample, like basically making pad rumplers. So or sample rump, yeah, pad rumplers, pad samplers. And yeah, he was talking a lot about the Rex tree as a phenomenon and how that really helped a pad sound be all airy and stuff. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a Rex tree synthesizer. And I found this so, like, this is so peculiar. But the Quilcom, I keep pointing to the screen that I'm capturing to kind of like, the Quilcom, I think it's an old dude who sits around somewhere and he makes these highly specific, weird, there's some really strange shit in there. It's all, I think he's always trying to make synth, VST synth representations of um, physical instruments. So like I think he's doing a lot of physical modeling, this kind of stuff. Yeah, and I just slam a bunch of reverb and delay and oh yeah, I have a yeah. This is a multi-band transgate, basically. Yeah, let's not get into the kilohertz thing now, but oh my, what a company, huh, guys? Alright, let's look here, because there's one more element that I yet have to program. Okay, what do we say? E and G. Okay, E and G are the two notes. Of course, there's another element here that I never actually really put anything in or figured out what I wanted to do with. But this is the senior. So I guess this is the latest in the the usual suspects. That's a group of people. Let me just show you. So yeah, the usual suspects, they run a blog called DSP 563 emulation 56300. The DSP 56300 was a chip that was made by Motorola, and it was in all of your favorite digital synths from the from the 90s. So here we got the virus TI, the microcog, and this senior is the latest one I've tried. It's the microwave emulation. And because this is a company that not a company, this is a bunch of coders who have decided not to do copies of ancient gear. They've decided to emulate the hardware that would load the firmware of these synths, right? So instead of like worrying about like getting, how do we get the filter to be both snappy but also resonant on long notes or whatever, instead of wondering about all that minutia of that, they were just like, okay, let's just emulate the chip and then see if we can load up the code and see if it behaves. And it fucking behaves. It sounds amazing. So this is just let's say it's a gray market tool. It's a bit like, it's definitely not illegal yet. And how illegal will it get? I don't know. Like, I don't see a lot of microwave rack units being produced today. And that's kind of the modus operandi of them. They hold off developing the emulations of synths that are being sold. Like they've refused to do anything with the Virus TI for a while, and then I guess Virus stopped selling TIs, and then they're like, okay, here you go, we developed it. All right. Well, that's the whole story time, right? I don't have to. Fine. All right. So ENG. E. It's very cool. It's very, 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 very cool. And it is a true emulation. So all the weird quirks and shit that was with the original unit is still here. And it's a little bit of a CPU hog sometimes, but there are different latency modes. Oh yeah, I've also just like slammed this right up. It will work in the other, like you can add latency to it. I guess this is like post DAW latency. So whatever latency is in your DAW, in out round trip or whatever, then you'll have to add this. And I think at least in Ableton when I was using the Virus version of this, did that a lot a while. Whatever latency I dialed in the menu within the plugin would be applied after the gain latency compensation stage of Ableton, which is also the notoriously worst latency compensation out of every single thing every environment I worked in had better latency compensation than Ableton Live. Especially Bitwig. This is one of the huge reasons why I made the switch. This and some CPU stuff, and the fact that it's a VST bridge for 32-bit plugins and stuff, like on all of these reasons. And it has a modular environment. All of those reasons. But yeah, CPU hog, unless you introduce latency, that will make it a little bit like you'll have to nudge stuff. The best thing would be to actually set everything up, do your automation, then record your output, put it into an audio track, and then nudge that around so it sits straight where you want it and has the right feel to it, and then you lock that down and you burn it up to the then you just bounce like you would normally bounce it, right? So what do we have altogether? We have something Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, really. Um, that goes for the stream, it goes for the track, it goes for everything, my career. Like, I don't fucking know where I'm going with this, right? But I can tell there is something about this. And it all came out of um, wanting to make something that didn't sound like every other fucking track I make. And it came from just like listening to a release that had the balls to have some like slow quotations, slow track, along with, because if you listen to the other ones here, I think this is the most popular track from the release. Right? By the way, love this track. Really cool. Very, very, very cool. Love it. Very cool. Very, very cool. Very, like, your neighbors will hate you, and that's good. Also, a very cool version of the same track. Also, that is so insane to me. You release your own track, and then you release your own remix of your own track right there, and then two other people release dual tracks. Like, the concept of this release is just so like, we don't give a fuck. This is good. We don't give a fuck. So just eat it. And that energy is just like, it just hit me so hard. Like, this shit. I wanted to make some weird shit, and then I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how informative, how like deep, like if this has helped anybody. I didn't do any producing. I just went through some kind of like track structure that I've set up. I guess I could go through some producing. If anybody's interested in seeing some producing, hey, let me know about it. I will produce this track. I'll work on it in front of you guys. But right now, I just wanted to kind of show you how like really weird stuff can work, and when you start doing the weird stuff, you start looking for the weird stuff, you find some really interesting things. And I mean, most of these things in, let's say, the reactor, no, the drums, on the drum machines, I would say I remembered them because I used them 10 to 15 years ago, I guess, when I started making electronic, not started, but like when I got serious about making electronic music. I remember like being like, oh, these are the only good free 808, 606 and all that stuff. So I haven't used those in a while, so I remembered that I might be able to do. The senior thing I haven't used at all, really. The Rex tree, I don't know how the fuck I thought about like how that would, you know. And then of course, you know, a fucking drum hit. Let's not be pedantic. And this phase 4 is like a yeah, I guess it's a mono. No, actually not. This is just like one of the Bitwig synth that I'm using it a lot for bass lines. I'm getting used to using this for bass lines because you can do some of the stuff where you send oscillators into other oscillators as wave shapers, basically. And you can mix that in and out and stuff. But yeah, be weird, do some weird stuff. More people should make weird and good music. Of course, it has to be good, guys. But I know, like, because also I tested playing this music for normal people. This one. Just to see their face. And you know, they don't fucking get it. Some of them. They don't fucking get it. They're just like, this is strange. And yeah, it's strange, but it's wonderful kind of strange that will blow certain people's mind and lead them down weird rabbit holes. This whole thing. This is my weird rabbit hole. Like, I guarantee you this, right? YouTube, Instagram, whomever is watching this, I solemnly swear, I will make this fucking work. I can make this work. I have the talent to make this weird piece of shit, like, not really done anything. I can make this work. For sure I can. But it's weird, it'll take me time and stuff, but I will make this work. Out of sheer will and stupidity, I will work for, like, let's say 2 weeks proper on this to have a final track that I'm happy with. But yeah, I'm just really happy that we have labels like Mirror Zone, run by people like Specky, releasing stuff like Sanginam. I think it's wonderful. And it looks like they have, you know, quite a few. Yeah. Quite a few. Yeah, people are supporting, which is wonderful to see. It's really wonderful to see how, yeah, like electronic musicians such as myself, we don't make enough money for it to really make sense, for it to be our lives. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. We're only one person, but we still can't be paid enough for fucking anything, and we never get. Yeah, you'll never see a fucking royalty ever in your life, and that's the bullshit system that's been set up, where you can only live from royalties and not live streams, live performances. And the live performances are not paying enough, and they are tough. They're tough. I love the performance, but the travel is tough. So, you know, support your local weirdo, please. If they make music, support it. It's really important. It's really difficult. And yeah, thank you, Sanginam, for giving me my first dose of, like, real inspiration in a long, long time. I hope this was inspiring to see how I set up a little track here. I'm not finished with it and all that stuff. I hope it's inspiring for you to see. If it was inspiring, if it's not inspiring, like, just let me know somehow. Find me, Instagram, whatever, SoundCloud. Send me messages. Send me comments, whatever. I love to talk, obviously, and I love to talk to people who are into this kind of shit. So if you're into it or want to get into it, talk to me, and I am certain I will answer you. Alright?